on the Zoom and you do have questions, please use the raise hand function so I know to call on you guys.
Yeah.
Once again, if you're on the Zoom and you do have a question, I'm going to need you to use the raised hand function so that we know to call on you. In the meantime, we'll start here. Carlos, you want to get us started?
Sí. Enhorabuena, antes que nada, porque el plan que el jueves nos dijiste se ha cumplido perfecto. Pero la primera pregunta es, ¿qué dijiste en el descanso? ¿Qué tocaste para que cambiara el equipo y saliera como salió en la segunda parte?
No, vengo hablando de la creencia y qué importante es la creencia para un equipo es. Y le dije que estamos ahí, estamos creando muchas oportunidades y le dije, y la verdad, si hacemos un gol, vamos a hacer 3. Y cuando salieron y creamos tanto chance, yo creo que se dieron cuenta que es posibilidad. Y yo creo que el primer gol, yo creo que el primer gol nos sacó toda la ansiedad del grupo y empezamos a jugar flojo. Y los 4 de adelante, yo creo que era el mejor partido defensivamente, que nos ayudó a recuperar el balón rápido y tal vez jugaron un partidazo con el balón y creamos muchas oportunidades. Así fue el primer partido que jugamos del primer minuto hasta los 90 y también me gustó cómo manejamos el fin de partido porque, claro, tenés 3 y quieres encontrar el cuarto, pero la disciplina que tuvimos para cerrar el partido fue muy lindo.
The question was, what did you say to the group at the break to bring out a different side to them? I keep talking about believing. I said we are there. We are creating chances, and if we make 1 goal, we'll be able to make 3. And when we came back and created chances, the team realized it was possible for the first goal to happen. Once the first goal went in, it released all of the anxiety of the group and relaxed the group. Everyone up front helped us tremendously defensively, and they played an amazing game that created lots of opportunities. It's the first game where I felt we played from minute 1 to minute 90, and the discipline showed that.
Estaba claro entonces, Pablo, que el peor enemigo del equipo era la ansiedad. Más que Charlotte, en este partido era la ansiedad, ¿no?
Sí, no, yo creo que los últimos partidos estamos jugando contra nosotros. Y cuando no tenés fe, no confías en el compañero, no confías en vos mismo, el fútbol se hace muy difícil. Pero yo creo que tenemos un equipo que pueden hacer goles, pueden crear oportunidades, pero si no hay creencia, no meter el gol. Y tuvimos varias antes del primer gol, pero cuando metimos el primer gol, el resto es, como dice, historia, ¿no?
The question was it the anxiety that was the team's worst enemy? Yes, I believe so. We needed to trust in each other. If we don't trust and the team doesn't trust in each other or themselves, we won't get there. We have to believe in ourselves. If we don't score goals, we won't be able to score goals. And when we made the first one, that kind of released the anxiety from the team.
Right. Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to touch on, I think that same idea that all of us, that you've been harping on all season, I think that's on all of our minds, is that goals change games, right? Is this kind of one of the best, I guess, examples of that theory being true, I guess?
It absolutely is. You know, I think goals not only change the scoreboard, but it changes momentum. It changes the belief system. It brings belief into what you're doing, what your teammates doing, and that it's working. And I think in the previous games, it hasn't been from a lack of creating opportunities. It's been from a lack of finishing them. And so it's really nice to see Anderson and Sava and Pablo break the account open here at home and really, you know, push the team forward. But again, I think it's very interesting because it was also our best defensive performance, I feel like. And I felt like we controlled large portions of the game, really from the guys up front doing a really good job defending, the midfielders and the guys in the back line. And I thought Zach had an exceptional game as well. And so I think there's a reason why the saying goes that offense wins games and defense wins championships, and I think I think today's performance was a good foundation to really build on.
And then what went into the decision to start Jasper in the midfield tonight?
Jasper's one of those players, and obviously I'm not on the field, but that none of his teammates like to play against. And if that's the case for your teammates, that's also the case for your opponents. He did a fantastic job breaking up a ton of plays. And I think those individual moments where you're tackling in the middle of the field and you win the ball, again, another momentum builder. And I just felt like, he's been sharp, and I think he's growing into it. He's really playing with a lot of confidence and really a catalyst to the engine room in the middle of midfield.
Hey, Pablo. No Dami tonight. Can you shed any additional light on why he was not with the team?
Yeah, Dami hurt his adductor yesterday in training. We had done a small group session at the end of Thursday's training where those guys were really getting in front of goal and trying to get as many reps as we could. And then yesterday he hit a couple balls and he felt some tightness in his adductor. And this morning when he woke up, he came in and had the docs check at it, and it was to the point where it's not going to be a long-term thing, but he felt and our trainers felt that it was best to kind of not put him in a position to where it can aggravate it more.
Gotcha. There's a lot of players that stepped up tonight. I think of Andres Gomez getting a handful of assists. Who, in your eyes, stepped up the most and was the biggest impact in this game?
I mean, I think you look all over the field and you can make a case for every single player, and I think that's when a good performance is validated. Again, you can start with Zach. You can start with the guys on the back line. You can start with anyone in midfield and anyone up top. I think they all had standout performances. And, there's the old, just do your job. And tonight, everyone did their job.
Pablo, felicidades por el triunfo. Cuando se gana, a veces podemos obviar algunos errores, pero solamente una pregunta. Anderson Julio, qué bien por él porque metió un gol, pero si trabajáramos con Anderson Julio para las posiciones adelantadas, porque es uno tal vez de las cosas que él adolece mucho, ¿cómo trabajar con él? Están trabajando porque de los 6 posiciones adelantadas casi todas fueran a él, porque si no podemos aprovechar más.
Sí, claro, yo creo que es un poco ansiedad. El Anderson viene ganando confianza como un jugador titular. En los años antes siempre entraban en los partidos como un suplente, y hoy día nos fijamos la data de físico y vimos que corrió más, hizo los sprints más que todos y cubrió mucha distancia en alta velocidad. Así, yo creo que con tiempo, claro, lo trabajamos en todos los entrenamientos porque jugamos siempre con línea de offside. Pero yo creo que también le pone duda en la defensa porque es un jugador muy rápido y hay que medir mejor. Y yo creo que cuando está en ritmo, cuando juega un poco más, va a encontrar el medir la distancia con la línea. Pero para mí lo más importante es que nunca paró de correr. O sea, a veces te toca 5 oportunidades para marcar uno, pero nunca dejó de correr y creer que iba a llegar.
The question was in regards to Anderson Julio, if they have worked with him in other positions and how we can work with him moving forward. I think it's a little bit of anxiety for him. He's gaining confidence as a starter. In previous years, he's been a sub. We talked about the physical aspect of the game, and he ran more. He sprinted and covered a lot of ground in high velocities. We took every training session with him, obviously, but he sometimes gets doubtful. But when he's in a rhythm, he'll play better. And for me, it's more important that he never stop running. Sometimes it wouldn't go in, but even then, he did not stop running.
All right, Dylan on Zoom, we'll hop to you.
Hey, Pablo, congratulations on the win. Considering how you guys won this, rallying after the losing streak. Could this be, because of the way you won, like a launching off point, you think, for this group to start getting some positive results going forward?
Yeah, I think so. I think you always need a platform to really leap from, and I think today's performance was a solid platform, a solid performance. And again, you can tell the guys that they're great players. You can set up a scheme, but it's really about, again, I say it all the time, and I think, you watch sports like golf and the guys that believe that they can win, more times than not end up winning. So I think for us, it's really a fork in the road where we can really rally around this performance. And what I said to the guys after the game is, whilst it was a complete performance, we need to keep pushing each other on both sides of the ball. We have to demand more from ourselves, because tonight you guys showed your quality. And again, it's always been there, but it's about bringing it out. And I think, like I said earlier, I think tonight's performance is a great foundation to really build from and use as a momentum as we move towards the next group of games.
Dylan, did you have a follow-up?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, Pablo, yesterday you talked about how you wanted your team to get back down to, your processes. You mentioned like people, culture, preparation. How did you see those things reflected in tonight's match?
I thought we had it in spades, and in particular coming back from a 1-goal deficit when we had numerous chances in the first half. It's so easy to let those moments derail you after a string of defeats. And what I saw today was a group of solid characters in that locker room that stayed the course, that dug deep, and that believed. And again, I think it's winning is a fickle thing, but the processes and the character of the man rarely changes. And so I couldn't be more proud of this group.
I know you don't always like to talk about just single performances all the time, so I'm going to single out two. Going back to Jasper a little bit, what is it about that partnership with him and Pablo that it seems like what Jasper was doing really kind of freed up Pablo in a lot of ways tonight?
Yeah, no, I think Pablo, again, I think one of his greatest attributes is his ability on the ball to find forward passes and switch the point of attack, and also link us from the back, and that's something that we've been focusing on with Pablo. And then the other, when you play with a double pivot, the other guy has to have some graft, and he's Jasper's nails in there. There's not one ball he's not willing to put his neck on the line for. He goes through tackles, and so that combination of having two guys that can do a lot of the work, and then Pablo, his ability to switch the point of attack, I think is, they're forming a formidable partnership.
Hey Pablo, thank you for your time. You talk a lot about mentality for this team and kind of how the mentality was in the wrong places in prior games. What was the difference in mentality for this game as opposed to prior games?
It's hard to say. I think being at home was huge for us. I think our fans have been waiting for a performance like this. I think the players have been anxious to perform for them. Again, because the greatest thing for any athlete are the people they're playing in front of. No different than a theater. You do it for the fans. You do it for the people. And I think it was just being sick and tired of feeling sorry for yourself, and coming into the locker room. And so yesterday, at the end of training, an analogy that I like to use is start with what that locker room feels like when you win. The music, the people, the vibes, the hugs, the high fives. And then work your way back from the 95th minute to the start of the game. What kind of graft, what kind of mindset do you have to have? Overcoming all the different obstacles. And I think today the guys, I think this is why sport is amazing, because it taps into the human character. And it's easier when it's a one player sport. It's so dynamic when it's 30 players and trainers, because oftentimes we talk about just the players, but the coaching staff who have done a fantastic job, the trainers, the equipment managers, the administrators, the PR guys and gals. Everyone puts their life into this, you know, and so winning isn't just for the players. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that commit their whole lives to this work, and as a collective, we're able to enjoy it. And so that's why I love it. I love to see people with smiles on their face. Oftentimes, the pressure just falls on me, but I think I'm a big boy, and in this moment, I just like to thank everyone in the organization for the fantastic work they do to you know, bring the fans to the game, the field, and all the work behind the scenes.
Thanks, Pablo. And last question for me. In the previous game against Columbus, you kind of talked about changing it up and doing different things to try and win games through the rough patch. After the performance today from the team, do you think it's fair to say that you found pretty close to what your starting lineup will be for the foreseeable future?
You know, I only go by what I see in training every day. I don't magic things up. I don't move chess pieces. I see the intensity in training. I see the commitment in training. And I think these guys, like I said, the work from the top defensively was unbelievable. The playing out of the back with the guys in the back was fantastic, and everything in between. And so what you're trying to find, I think, is a chemistry. And guys, again, there's a lot of players that you can put in there that are just as talented and work just as hard, but you're always trying to find the chemistry and partnerships, whether it's center backs or outside back and winger or two central midfielders or the two guys up front, and you're always looking for the understanding that they have amongst one another within the bigger tactical scheme. And tonight they displayed that there was a great understanding and a willingness to work extremely hard for the guy next to him.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We're going to go from one Pablo to the next real quick. Once again, with Pablo Ruiz, if you're asking a question in English, allow us to translate it to Spanish so that we can make sure everybody's understanding, and vice versa with Spanish. All right. You want to start?
Pablo, buenas noches. Primero que nada, preguntarte con respecto a lo que pasa en el medio tiempo. El equipo pues no estaba jugando mal, pero una desventaja clara que afectaba mentalmente a los jugadores. Viene tu gol, que fue un verdadero golazo realmente. ¿Cómo se sintieron todos? ¿Cómo se sintió el equipo ya en el terreno de juego después de que cae ese gol? Sobre todo porque habían pasado 300 minutos sin anotar en jornadas anteriores.
Bueno, primero que nada, buenas noches.
The question was in regards to halftime. The team wasn't playing horrible in the first half, but clearly in a mental disadvantage. Then your goal came in. How did the team feel afterwards moving forward?
Primero que nada, buenas noches. La verdad que sí, como vos bien decías, hicimos un muy buen primer tiempo. Por ahí no se nos daba el gol. Atacábamos en todo momento. Ellos se encontraron con el gol ese que nos marcaron. Pero nosotros teníamos la convicción de que en el segundo tiempo íbamos a revertir la situación, porque se lo veía a Charlotte que estaba un poco cansado. Por suerte pudo ayudar al equipo con el gol, y nada, después todo mérito del equipo, porque en ningún momento dejó de luchar, de querer buscar los 3 puntos, y creo que fue meritorio los 3 puntos que nos quedamos en casa.
I think we had a good half. We obviously couldn't get a goal in, but we kept attacking. We knew that we would come to fight in the second half. We also knew that they were tired, and then when they came, the goals kept on going, and we kept fighting.
Insisto sobre el tema del descanso. ¿Cuál fue la clave para que ustedes salieran? Porque yo pocas veces he visto a un equipo salir en tromba con esa insistencia, digamos, en la segunda parte, nada más salir, hasta que el golazo tuyo que marcó un poco romper la ansiedad, ¿no? Porque yo creo que ese era el factor. Yo creo que el enemigo de ustedes era más la ansiedad que Charlotte, ¿no?
Question was at the break. Obviously, the key was that halftime, and in the second half, you guys came out with a vengeance. I've never really seen that happen before, a team that comes out with such momentum going into the second. Also, a little bit of anxiety there. How did you guys feel?
Sí, la mentalidad es como bien decís. Por ahí nosotros notamos que ellos vinieron acá, quisieron hacer su juego y notamos que estaban cansados. Y la mentalidad de nosotros es que necesitábamos ganar, como sea. Necesitábamos ganar porque veníamos de 2 derrotas muy duras. La verdad que nos afectó mucho, pero el equipo siempre tuvo la convicción de querer ganar, de querer hacer las cosas bien, primeramente por nosotros, porque lo necesitamos, por darle una alegría también a nuestros fans. Y creo que hoy se vio reflejado, en la segunda parte del juego, que el equipo presionó, marcó la diferencia jugando. Creo que después vinieron los goles y empezamos a agarrar ese envión que necesitábamos.
Yes, mentality is a thing, but we knew they would come here and play their game. But our mentality was we needed to win no matter what, especially after the 2 horrible losses. It was tough, but we knew that we had to do everything within ourselves and for the fans to get this win. And I think you saw that reflection on the pitch.
Pablo, felicidades por el gol y por el triunfo. Cuéntanos, luego de tú hablas de 2 derrotas dolorosas y desafortunadamente estuviste involucrada en las 2 y eso imagino duele. Pero ¿cómo vives en el interior después de darle la rienda al triunfo cuanto más se necesitaba?
You mentioned the 2 hurtful losses, and unfortunately you weren't involved in those. I imagine that was difficult, but how did you continue to move forward in order to get here?
Buenas noches primero. Sí, como bien decís, estuve involucrado en los 2 juegos porque, bueno, primeramente cuando perdimos acá cometí el error con San Luis. Era mi primer juego, la ansiedad de querer ayudar al equipo, me jugó en contra, me hice responsable. Yo siempre digo, soy una persona que se hace responsable de mis errores. Me tocó pasar lo mismo con Columbus y creo que la mentalidad mía siempre estuvo en querer mejorar, en querer ayudar al equipo. Obviamente que esto es fútbol, a veces se gana, a veces se pierde. Me tocó perder 2 veces y hoy creo que entré con un plus extra. El plus extra fue que viví un momento hermoso con mi hijo. Entré con mi hijo al campo de juego y creo que todo lo que haga yo basa en él. Creo que él me da la fortaleza para afrontar cada desafío, para seguir adelante y poder ayudar a Real Salé también.
Yes, I was involved in those 2 games, but the mistakes happened. There was a little bit of anxiety there, but I took responsibility. You have to do that when mistakes are involved, and the same happened in Columbus. But my mentality is to keep going, and I think today I was extra motivated. I had a beautiful moment with my son on the pitch, and everything I do is for him. He gives me the strength to keep going and to keep moving forward.
Anyone else? Is there anyone on Zoom with a question for Pablo Ruiz? Oh, Sean Walker. Guess we'll finish with you, man.
Una pregunta en cuanto al tu compadre allá en el mediocampo de Jasper ese. ¿Qué es lo que hace Jasper para hacer que tú puedas hacer tu trabajo un poco mejor? Que parece que él lo hace muy bien.
The question is in regard to your buddy Jasper. What does he do to make your job easier? You guys really work well together.
No, Jasper es un fantástico jugador. La verdad que creo que lo demostró la temporada pasada. Creo que ahora también lo demuestra. Es una persona insistente a la hora de correr, presionar. Tiene un físico bárbaro. Lo mismo con Brian y todos los que juegan en el medio. Creo que todos siempre lo que jugamos ahí queremos hacerlo de la mejor manera. Pero creo que hoy Jasper me ayudó muchísimo a que yo pueda avanzar un poquito más y poder ayudar al equipo en esa posición. Por ahí el primer tiempo no se vio tanto eso, me retrasé un poquito más, pero después ya cuando noté que Charlos estaba un poquito cansado, empecé a avanzar un poquito más, a tirar al arco y creo que ahí fue el punto donde encontramos la victoria.
Jasper is a fantastic player, better than last season. He shows the person he is when it comes to running and pressuring. Same with Brian. Everyone that plays, we want to do it in the best way we can. Jasper helps push me a lot. And just to be there when I notice he's a little tired, I push more to help him out, and we just have a good partnership.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Gracias.
All right, we should have Jasper here in just a moment. So, moving through these quick today.
thought I unlocked it.
Yeah, this it's a literally a millimeter switch.
Guys, just a note on the schedule next week. Monday is not an off day, but it's also not a mandatory day. It's like optional. So then we'll train Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 10:30, and then Friday's obviously a travel day to Dallas. So if you come on Monday, I can't guarantee you'll get who you want to talk to.
Basically ignore everything I said. Apologies.
What did you say?
I said Mondays are great because it's region days.
Yeah.
They have ample time.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys are going to take Monday off, so I'd probably plan on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday may also move a little earlier. We'll have to schedule out tomorrow. I don't know off the top of my head what time our flight is to Dallas. What's that? Yeah. I've not heard text change. He hasn't said anything. Yeah.
Great, it's going on still, but it's going great. No, I haven't had any problems.
No, everything's
No, great. Awesome. He played a good bit for them.
There's more possibilities in French in Europe. Bring us a French player. Bring us a French player.
Venture down and see where he's at. Hold this one.
Also, Emeka, DeLent, and Elijah are flying to San Jose in the morning to play for the Monarchs tomorrow. So, should be good.
Sunday 6 o'clock.
I mean, you look at the schedule, right? They only have 2 Saturday games, so it might actually make sense from a developmental standpoint this year.
See how many minutes their legs have.
I mean, Elijah played what, 15? Can't guarantee I won't drink it. I know, right? It's so good, though.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. Shout out to Cooperative in Orem. They have great stuff. Unpaid. Unluckily. I'm working on it. I'm working. Next one, hopefully, but I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Jasper, thank you for your time. The team obviously had a very good game today, a lot of open spaces, and then that 6-minute stretch where the team just started scoring goals. What do you feel like contributed most to the success of the team tonight?
I feel like for us it's more about, and that's what we talked about the last couple of weeks, we have to get used to playing a good 90 minutes, not just a good 45. I mean, still this first half was probably really, really good, It's unlucky that we concede that goal, that we don't score 2 or 3. We had great chances as well in the first half, and I feel like for me, I really put myself into it right now, just to keep everything as compact, as close as possible. Talk to the guys around me, just be like, hey, heads up, like we're gonna stay in this game. Don't concede. Defense first, and then we're gonna get our chances. The fans carried us through the game, so we know once that one goal falls, we know that we're gonna score 2 or 3 more. That's what happened. Took us like a couple chances, but yeah, finally got that off our chest a little bit, and I feel like the confidence now is just a little bit back. You see guys flying around the field, taking people on one-on-one. The finishes are great. The service is great now. There's all the small details that was just missing over the last couple of weeks. Like, we're still playing decent soccer, but the outcome was not there. And today I just felt like we had that final bit, maybe a piece of luck as well. It's always in that game too. But I just felt like the team did a really good job staying in that game as well, offensively as defensively, because they had a couple of great chances as well after we scored the first or second one. But yeah, I feel like just to stay in that game is part of my job, to keep the lines connected, be motivational, and just talk to the guys around me and keep pushing.
You mentioned in the first half how the team went down 1-0 and down 1-0 at halftime. And there was a lot of visible frustration, I think, from a lot of the guys on the field just with missing opportunities in the first half. But I want to ask you personally how good it feels to be able to finally get your first win with the team this season at home.
It's unbelievable, to be honest. It's been a long time, honestly, and probably overdue as well, because I feel like even though you have scores that look very clear on paper, the games don't feel that way. You jump out of games and you just sit back at home and be like, what just happened? Like, how could we not get any points? How could we not score on this day? And I feel like this is just what we finally get this group together and be like, hey, like, we knew that we had it, but now we finally could show it to everybody out there who was here tonight, that we have decent players out there, that we have great players out there who can contribute on both ends. So it's just really happy for the team that they showed up today and we got the 3 points. Thank you.
Hey, Jasper. So the game kind of changed at halftime. How do you feel like the team responded going into the second half?
I don't really think it changed that much, to be honest. I mean, like, in the first half, it was more like a direct punch-to-punch kind of thing, like going our way, going their way. A lot of just like a tennis match kind of, I would say, just like attack, from attack to attack. The second half was more like we try to control a little bit better. And obviously we had that really high-pressure phase in the first 10, 15 minutes where I was still, very confused how we not could score like 5 or 6 goals. But yeah, I feel just like it just comes together like to the mindset of the people, and like we just sat down at halftime, and it's not much that needs to be said, to be honest, because everybody knows this has to end today. Like, there's not another chance that we go down at our home stadium. Obviously that goal that they shot was a wonderful strike. Honestly, can't really do much about it. It's just unlucky, but he took it well. So it's just about the mentality piece to just stay in the game and come back out. And I feel like that's what's been lacking, for example, against St. Louis. I feel like we had a great half against St. Louis as well, and we're like maybe a little bit too chillant about it and be like, hey, like, if we just keep like this, then we may score. But that's not how it works, You have to be like, you got to bring it to them even more. So, I feel like that's what we did in the second half today. It was just the motivation piece from everybody in the locker room at halftime. It was like, come on, we need to just be a little bit better, It's not crazy much better, Like, we didn't play bad, but like just that one final step. Yeah. No problem.
You mentioned that one of the things that you mentioned to your teammates was to focus on defense first, and then hopefully the goals will come after. You don't exclusively play defense, you're a midfielder, but is that something that you take a little bit more pride in and kind of find yourself carving out a little bit of a role as more of a defensive-minded midfielder?
I take pride in everything I do, kind of. Like, if I have a great defensive play, I'll take pride in that. If I have an offensive play, I take pride in that. I take pride in in people scoring. I take pride in our defenders blocking shots. We had 2 or 3 really great defensive plays today. It wasn't me, but I'm really happy. You know, it's like I'm just happy to be part of the team and help in situations, and the team can rely on me, kind of trusting me. We had a great counter press situations where I stole the ball a couple of times, but like we couldn't capitulate on that at the end. But like I feel it's just like just so many things coming together, and just being a part of it is just really, really, really nice. I just love that.
Yeah, and then how good did it feel to have your midfield partner Pablo kind of break that scoring drought and be the guy to open up
I mean,
that run for you guys?
I always make fun of him in practice because Pablo has an amazing left foot. I've never seen something like it. Like his shooting technique is just incredible. But like in training, you always hit some like top bins, and it's like just a natural thing. And then last season he scored like he didn't score. That's the thing. He hit like 15 to post and crossbar, and I always tell him just hit the net, please, just one time. And now this time he hit the crossbar, but also the net. So I was kind of relieved that it bounced in from the line into the net. But yeah, shout out to that keeper as well. He was phenomenal. I know him from Clemson. We played a couple of times against each other. Could be a little bit, yeah, but today finally we got the upper hand on him. But yeah, he was great. I mean, he saved a lot of good shots and kept them in for a very long time. So yeah, well done.
Dos cosas. Una, ¿saliste lesionado o no? No sé, porque saliste un poco tocado, no sé si es preocupante o no es problema. Otra cosa, te recomiendo que veas los 15 primeros minutos de la segunda mitad, porque fueron impresionantes. Dice que para ti no había tanta diferencia, se jugó bien la primera parte, pero es que esos 15 minutos, pocas veces he visto un equipo jugar con esa intensidad, como salieron ustedes. Y lo último, ¿te ha sorprendido que Pablo confíe tanto en ti, incluso por delante de jugadores que en teoría podían ser más titulares como Ojeda?
I think the first question was if I'm injured. Or if
We'll go in bed. First, were you hurt? Did you come out hurt, or was it precautionary, or anything? If it seemed like you were hurt.
It's kind of both. I was just like a little tight in my hips, and I think it's just precautionary a little bit that yeah, they take me out so nothing happens. But I think it's nothing that I should be too worried about. We have a whole week to recover from that. Just take all the necessary steps to recover, and then hopefully we'll be good. Second question was the first 15 minutes of the second
More of
half.
a comment.
Yeah.
I recommend you go back and watch the first 15 minutes of the second half because they were unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've never seen a team come out with so much intensity.
Yeah. I have to agree. Like, I feel the team just did a great job of riding that wave kind of into it, you know? Like, we're sitting in locker room and just having that pep talk kind of that we just go out there and keep pushing, and we're gonna find the goal at one point. And just everybody staying in there, hitting the first, second, third goal, not letting go of anything. Like, it was so intense. Everybody was pressing high. You see Pablo running out for Savarino coming back inside. You see Cello and Glad like throwing their bodies on the line, Vera as well. It's just incredible to see. It's so much fun how when people like come together and just put everything into that one moment, into that game, it just makes you feel proud kind of that they're your teammates and they play next to you.
And then lastly, are you surprised at how much Pablo is putting trust in you, Ruiz?
Pablo Ruiz? I don't know if he puts that much trust in me. I feel like he could trust you a little bit more, to be honest. But no, me and Pablo have a great connection. I feel like, because I take more like a defense role. Like I try to cover more ground because I feel like that Pablo, with his experience and his technical ability, is just better in the build-up. I'm more better in exploiting the spaces in between and cover the ground in there. So I feel like the mix that we two have is just very good. If he wants to go and attack, I'm more than happy to let him go so I can cover. Same for him as well. I think he trusts me making the right decisions, and I just have to keep on building on that trust as well. Don't give him a reason not to trust me, not to play me the ball, and yeah, therefore I'm really happy. I'm just happy we have that deep of a squad, so we can all jump.
Pablo Mastroeni.
Pablo Mastroeni.
Yeah.
And not Ruiz.
That's a good answer, though.
Thank
But
you.
it's okay. But it's okay.
Yeah,
It's a tricky.
cut that out, please. No, Pablo Mastroeni. Do I take pride in that, or what was the question?
No, are you surprised at how much trust he's putting in you?
Kind of, yeah. A little bit, I have to say. I'm very happy about it, obviously. I have to be. And I feel like it's a great challenge every week to fight for that spot, because it's not a given, I don't go in any training week and be like, okay, I can relax now, and because I have the spot. It's always, you have so many great guys. You have Diego, who comes in the middle as well. You have Ojeda, even Scott, who's I've never seen Scott turn over a ball. It's just what Pablo really believes in, I feel like just comes from here, really. It's my mindset, what I can bring to the team. And I feel like I haven't done a great job of that in the first couple of games, because I've maybe been too harsh on myself as well. I wanted to prove a little bit too much. But today was more just about, I enjoyed myself out there, I felt like I was young again, 14, 15, playing with my friends and just having fun, and just want to give it all into the pitch, and whatever comes out, comes out. And obviously today we just had a little bit more luck and we took the win.
Anybody else for Jasper?
Hey, Jasper, congratulations. Just can you comment to us? There was a lot of pressure, frustration, and so many things. Now, do you have any conversation, the team in the locker room, what happened? The people wants to know how the team reaction is after, release all this frustration. You having a conversation with somebody else or in a group? How the people, the team is feeling right now?
After the game, it's just a little bit of dancing going on with my Latin American friends. Just putting on some beats. No, everybody is happy, obviously, It was a lot of pressure on us, to be honest. It's never nice to go into a season and, have that losing streak, kind of, Not particular because you play that bad, but, just something is missing, So you're, trying to get the hang of what it is, And so I feel like we owed ourselves that we have that performance tonight, especially at home, because we owed it to the fans as well. They come out every time, so it's just a great feeling to be here, have that 3 points. And we talked about it yesterday. It was it starts with the feeling, what you want to have after the game. That's how you should feel doing the time on the pitch. That's what Pablo told us, and it's true. Because if you think of that spirit, what you're gonna have after the game in the locker room, people are just laughing, having a great time, handshakes flying everywhere, a little bit dancing, nice music, We want to have that. We don't just want to sit there in silence and throw our shoes away or anything like this, And if you take that atmosphere and it just gives you the right mood, kind of to jump into that game and be hey, I want to give everything I got to end up like this at the end of those 90 minutes. And I feel like the team did a great job at that today. So yeah, really happy.
Thank you.
No problem.
That was just asked as well. I want to ask you about the rough patch that you guys had to start the season. Kind of take us through what it was like for the team in the locker room, and what your role was in keeping the team together to prepare for this win today.
That's a good question, because I'm always young, I'm not young, but I'm new to the league kind of as well. So for me, the struggle was a little bit, because you're facing two challenges at once, because one side is the team and the club, and the other side just you you have to deal with those losses as well, because I take a lot of pride in what I'm doing when I'm out on the pitch, and if I feel like I don't contribute to the team having success, I failed personally. And then obviously you have the team aspect as well, you want to be a team who gets points, who stands on the top of the table and fight for playoff spots and all that stuff. So yeah, it's been a tough couple of weeks, not gonna lie. But I feel like I need to be, and that's what I learned out of it. It's just I need to be a better version of that and push that aside, because like the game's done. You know, like if the game's done, it should like you can sit down and watch over it and analyze what was wrong. But then all the negative thoughts should be set aside and you really focus on the next part. And I feel like we kind of let ourselves down a little bit and just like we're going a little bit too easy on us. Where this week was just like we have to find a way to drag ourselves out of that hole that we like digged ourselves. You know, so I feel like next time maybe stay a little bit more positive, try to get the guys around me as well and try and just like lift the spirit a little bit. But yeah, I feel like I've learned a lot of lessons out of those couple weeks. No problem.
Anyone on Zoom with any questions for Jasper? All right.
Thanks,
Okay.
Jasper.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Do you think we won because we had sunshine and practiced outside yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I told on the radio yesterday.
Yeah.
It just lightens up your mood, you know.
It's better than the turf and the fluorescent lights, yeah.